Liikkuva, or Liikkuva, if you want to have the two Ks, is a Scandi string textures library from Pulse Audio. It's on the Pulse Audio store. And it's basically high strings and low strings, which are designed for a lot of scoring applications, cinematic scoring in that Scandi or Nordic soundtrack kind of tradition that's been growing. There's some shows that are good examples. The Bridge, The Killing, Border Town, and Trapped are some good examples that they give. There's no violas here. It's just violins and low strings. That scoops out the mid-range to make room for dialogue and other soundtrack sounds if you want, and gives kind of an icy, cool feeling. It can be warm. The low end is fairly bold, and it can be very soothing as well. You'll need 15 gigabytes of space. It is actually only 5 gigabytes compressed, but it's 10 gigabytes extracted. You'll want 4 gigs of RAM on your system, requires the full version of Contact 581 or higher. And this is something that not a lot of companies do. You'll get 100% money back guarantee. If you're not happy, let them know within 30 days and they'll refund your purchase. Let's take a few listens. Both the highs and the lows have identical patches. And there's a lot of them. There's harmonics, molto flautando with bowed vibrato, molto sulpant with bowed vibrato, molto sulpant tremolo, and sultasto tremolo. There's Plucks alternating, ricochet soundscape, these sirens, which are really cool, spiccato soundscape, sulpant, sultasto, tremolo soundscape, and varied tremolo. Now, what I like doing with these, what I've been trying to do myself, is have one set of patches in the high end and another set of patches in the low end. And what this does is gives you a little bit of rhythmic pulsing in the low end and a little bit of high-end detail. So an example of that would be molto flautando bowed vib on the low end, the low strings, and then varied tremolo on the high strings. Another nice combination I found is harmonics on the high strings, molto flautando on the low strings. And if you hold a key with those two together where they overlap, then you've got a nice octaves feel. One other patch that I need to mention before I go on is the sirens patches. I think those are really going to stand out for certain uses. This is what they sound like in the low strings. And it actually goes pretty low, too. I'm kind of surprised. Pretty cool. The low end is probably worth mentioning things like the this molto flautando bowed vib. Like, listen to how warm it can get. Up top, the solpant is very, very crisp and beautiful. Great stuff for tension here as well. We've got low end that can scratch and scrape. The soltastos can be very sweet. Do something major. There's almost nothing I can play on this without bringing the volume up at the end and feel like I'm ready for the commercial or the end of the scene and go to a new scene. I can close my eyes. It's every time. And that's the same patch. I mean, when I start mixing and matching them, and scene. No, I get a little corny because every time I let go of the keys, it's just like, yes. And so, yeah, I think you'll have a lot of fun with this too. With the mics, you've got a close, a mid, and a far. And there's a great separation between them. The close can be very close sounding, and the far have a nice sense of distance. There's also a reverb that you can mix in, and they've let you open up contact if you want to swap out with a different convolution impulse response. So you can change your reverbs if you want right within contact. Let's take a listen now to the close mics. There's a few patches that really demonstrate, especially in the high strings, the amount of detail that they were able to capture in the close mics. Take the mix of the reverb off. And right there you can hear that there's a good stereo image. There's two different very nice close detail mic, and then the same patch with far just for reference without any external reverb still. These were recorded in a church, It's a church in Zagreb, Croatia. And they use Rode ribbons, AKG Neumann condensers, and yeah, with the close, mid, and far, there's plenty of sonic options. They've also got a random start feature. The random start is going to give you the ability to start any of these patterns in a different spot. So I'll go find one of the patterns. I think Plucks Alt might be a good one. So if you, it's whole tone sampled, but if you were to play different notes kind of over and over again, and they all started exactly in the same place, you'd start to notice the pattern of exactly where we are in this recording. So easy to tell that it's the same thing. You can turn random start on when the button is kind of a darker gray, that's on. And now it'll start in different parts of the recording, and you won't be able to predict each time I press it where it's going to begin. So random start is a great feature to have for those. The other thing that the random start button can help with is if you are doing minor seconds and you're triggering basically the same sample transposed, having it randomly start will offset the recording enough where they won't get into any kind of weird sounds. Another interesting thing that they've done is give you access to the crossfade between the sustain sample and the release samples. And you can change your sustain decays, turn the releases off with the volume control, or change the way the release itself attacks and decays. Now, I've found them really seamlessly programmed. I kept looking for a release sample that was too loud or too quiet, never found one. And I'm sure if you did find one, you could write to them and they'd update it. The only other thing to mention is reverb length and volume expression controls that you can assign to your mod wheel or whatever other controllers you've got around. So that's Liikkuva, or Liikkuva. The Pulse Audio Store web address is pulse.audio. It's not a .com, it's a .audio. Thanks for joining us again. We've got a few videos on the channel now, so go ahead and subscribe to the Pulse Audio YouTube channel to start seeing the rest of them as we roll more out. We've got some cool things coming up for you.